Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a first impressions on the Milani Conceal and Perfect Foundation. It is a 2-in-1 foundation and concealer. I will just read you a little bit of the description online of what this foundation claims to do. I paid $10 for it, American, and it says, combat under eye circles, redness, and other skin imperfections with this full coverage, water-resistant foundation plus concealer in one. A no mess, no drip pump dispenses just the right amount of fluid needed to achieve a flawless look and works around the clock to keep skin looking naturally perfect. So, from what I understand, it is a full coverage foundation, and it's supposed to act as a concealer and a foundation in one. So I'm quite excited to use it. I do have quite a bit of redness on my cheeks and some around my eyes and nose. What I've planned to do is I'm just going to use a primer. Usually I'd use it on my full face every day. For the purpose of this first impressions, I want to really see how it works with different tools, different products underneath and over top. For primer on this side of my face, I'm going to be using the Becca Backlight Primer Filter. And so what I've decided is I'm going to try applying it with the Beauty Blender and also a brush. I'm going to use the brush on the side that I've primed with because I do have dry skin, and usually with a brush that can kind of tend to exaggerate any dry patches. And so on the unprimed side, where I don't have any extra moisture, I'm going to be using the Beauty Blender damp, so that will leave a bit of moisture on my skin. I'm just going to take the foundation and pump a little bit onto the back of my hand. I'll start with one pump. Then I'm just going to dot it all over my face. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the brush side. I'm just going to work in circular motions, buffing this in. So this is quite interesting with the brush side already. I'm noticing that it has not covered at all on my redness on my cheeks. It's almost looking patchy. I'm not sure that I don't like the brush application. So let's see how the Beauty Blender does. And already I'm really liking the Beauty Blender side quite a bit better. I'm just gonna try and use a little bit more product on the brush side. And instead of buffing it in, I'm just gonna pat it in. I'm just feeling like I'd like a little bit more coverage off of the Beauty Blender side. I've now gone through the whole pump on the back of my hand. So I'm not sure if you can tell, but the brush side gives quite a bit different coverage. I feel like the Beauty Blender side gives a very natural finish. It does not look like I'm wearing makeup. This side definitely looks like I'm wearing makeup, especially kind of around the edges where I have a little bit of peach fuzz. So I'm just going to take a bit more and take it down my neck so that everything kind of blends together and don't have that makeup line. So I've kind of gotten it to a point where they both kind of look a little bit similar, but I am still really liking the Beauty Blender side. It looks much more natural and fresh. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna finish up my makeup and then I'll come back and we'll talk about how that went. So I'm just gonna go finish up my makeup and then I'll come back and give you a little bit more info on how things applied over top of it and whatnot. So I'll see you in a bit. Hey, I'm back. So I finished the rest of my makeup and I must say I quite like the foundation. There are a couple things that I wanted to mention though. I do not like it applying it with a brush. I feel like that does not quite give me what I want. It got kind of patchy. So I definitely prefer the Beauty Blender. But one thing that I did notice with the Beauty Blender side, because I didn't put a primer on this side, it is feeling a little bit tight. This side does feel quite good though, the brush side. So I would, in the future, do it with a primer all over the face and then a Beauty Blender to blend it out. Bringing you in a little bit closer, you can see that it is quite a full coverage foundation. I did notice a little bit that some of the dryness on my cheeks here was accentuated a little bit, I think because of the brush application, because on this side I do not have that problem. Otherwise, I feel like it does look pretty natural for a full coverage foundation. I might go with a little bit lighter of a shade. I feel like the shade is a little bit too dark, but I feel like I can probably make it work. So yeah, all in all, I feel like this foundation did a really good job. It's quite full coverage and I feel like it looks quite nice on the face. But like I said, I do prefer a primer underneath and application with a Beauty Blender. So I will check in a bit later and let you know how it's holding up. I will say the weather right now is pretty hot and we don't have air conditioning in our house. So I've already noticed that I've been sweating a little bit already and it's holding up pretty well so far actually. So yeah, I'll check in a bit later. Hey guys, I'm back. I wanted to talk about what has been going on with this foundation. So I remember earlier I was telling you that I liked the Beauty Blender side better, but as the day has worn on, I'm finding that I actually prefer the brush side. Now, this may be because of the primer. I put it only on this side of my face, and that might just be giving it the moisture it needed. I find that this foundation is a little bit too dry for my dry skin. I did prefer the Beauty Blender for how it applied, but honestly, this side is lasting better. The bronzer and blush I put on is lasting better on this side than on this side. I think in the future I'll just put either a couple of drops of argan oil into this foundation or I just apply it with the Beauty Blender. Now I'll just zoom you in for a little bit closer of a look. So yes, as I was saying, I really think this foundation has held up really well. I've noticed that it has settled into a couple of fine lines and a little bit under my eyes here. But nothing too big of a deal, nothing that would turn me off of it. I have also eaten butter chicken today and I had them in like a little lettuce wrap. It was a little bit messy, so it's actually like I have not done any touch-ups at all today and it still looks pretty darn good. At one point when I was eating, I got like a big thing of butter chicken sauce on my nose, but we won't talk about that. Also, if any of you did want to see a tutorial on this makeup look that I am wearing today, just let me know in the comments below and I will film that for you guys. Well, I think that's it for now. I will check back in before I go to bed tonight just to give a final update, see how long exactly the wear is. It's been on now for about 4 to 5 hours, and usually that's about 3/4 of a day for me. I usually wake up at about 5:30 in the morning and go to bed around 10-ish, we'll say. So yeah, I'm definitely over the 12-hour mark. So we'll see how this goes. Anyways, we'll check in later. Bye. I'm back, and to be honest, I fell asleep last night with my makeup on. My plan was to take it off just before I went to bed. That did not happen, and I did not film the last little part of that video. But to be honest, this is a really good test for the foundation because it is still on quite a bit. I noticed that my eyeshadow on this side has completely come off. This one is still on, so I'm assuming I slept on this side. It's not looking the best on this side, it's mostly come off, but the side that I didn't sleep on, it's still on. So that's almost 19 hours, which is pretty darn good. And half of that was sleep. Like I said before, in the future I'm going to be trying it with a primer and using the beauty blender to apply it, setting it with a powder, and hopefully that will feel much better and look much better and last much better. I'm really excited to give you guys an update on how I'm liking this foundation, but as a first impression, I'm really liking it and can't wait to try it out again. All right, we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!